to confirm our roll, and you can just acknowledge that quickly. But I think since we can see names and faces, we do have quorum, and then we'll go ahead into official business. Let me just make sure everyone did receive an early packet. You should have an agenda. You have minutes from December the 3rd, which is an action item. You have an updated community health improvement plan. That's in your packet. That is also an action item tonight. And then you should have received a number of embedded fact sheets that tie to a discussion we'll have later this evening on violence prevention and intervention. So there are several links. We can all thank Dia for her help in pulling those materials together for the meeting. She's not with us tonight. She's got a conflict with another meeting. So just want to acknowledge the work that she put into helping Angie and I and you all get here this evening. You should also have the opioid surveillance report. So the overdose report is in your packet. And always remember that last page has a series of phone numbers, especially Trevor's and Josh Love's, Trevor Henderson and Josh Love's numbers on that form as well, in case you want to reach out for further discussion or want additional information. Angie, how are we on?
Okay, let me just call roll, because since we're on recording, some people may not have video. So Bob Vero.
Here.
Katina Beard. Here. Shotzi Brunner. Monty Burks. Sheila Calloway.
Here.
Dan Eisenstein. Robin Nobling.
Here.
Mary Lyndon Salter.
Here.
Pamela Sessions.
Here.
Jeffrey Stovall.
Here.
Joe Webb. And Pam Womack.
Here.
Very good. Okay, thank you. We have quorum. We can move forward.
Okay. So in accordance with Metro's rules for electronic meetings, public access, I'd like a motion from one of our council members that tonight's meeting be conducted virtually. So I'd look for a motion and then a second for that motion.
I'll make the motion.
I second it.
I got the second from Dr. Stovall. Who made the motion?
I move Sheila Calloway.
Calloway. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor and a second that we'd be allowed to conduct our meeting virtually tonight. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposition? Okay, thank you. We have several guests with us. We actually have 5 guests with us tonight, and you can see we have a very busy and I hope meaningful agenda for us this evening. I'd like to go ahead and honor our special guests by doing a brief introductory bio for each of them. And if we can, I'd like just to go ahead and collectively do that introduction so that we're not doing multiple handoffs throughout the meeting and doing an introduction before each segment. So as long as that's okay with our guests, let me just take you in order of appearance tonight and go through your bios. Heidi Bennett, who is with us tonight, she's going to be talking about Behavioral Health Services Division with Metro Nashville Police Department. Heidi has been with the department for over 28 years. First as a police crisis counselor with the Victim Intervention Program, and then later as a counselor and supervisor in the Domestic Violence Division and Family Intervention Program. Heidi currently oversees the professional wellness section of the department, which includes the in-house counseling program for police officers and families. Additionally, she oversees all the clinical components of the department, including the Family Intervention Program and Youth Services Division. Heidi's range of experience, for those of us especially know Heidi in her almost 3 decades of service to Metro, we know that her range includes working with domestic and sexual assault survivors, families of homicide victims, where she's been providing individual and group counseling, like I said, for almost 3 decades, assisting victims of crime as they navigate their way through our criminal justice system. Heidi is often a very sought after professional when it comes to providing education around all those victim related topics now in the area of police wellness as well. She's going to be joined tonight by Lieutenant Michael Gooch. And Lieutenant, I think we all want to recognize your recent promotion and again, congratulate you. When we first reached out to Lieutenant Gooch, it was a few weeks ago, and it was still unofficial. It was Sergeant Gooch at the time, but Lieutenant, welcome and congratulations on your recent promotion. Lieutenant Gooch is a 20-year veteran with the Metro Nashville Police Department, currently serves as the Wellness Unit Lieutenant. Michael spent more than half his career working as a detective in a variety of assignments where he was exposed to high levels of trauma. Michael helped to develop and create the Wellness Unit. He oversees the day-to-day operations, which include a wide array of departmental programs such as the peer support team, the mentoring program, the chaplaincy unit, training and development, and wellness outreach. He's also a delegate to the Department of Justice, Officer Safety and Wellness Program, and also the Department of Justice Community of Practice Working Group. And he's also a International Association Chief of Police subject matter expert with the Collaborative Reform Initiative of the Technical Assistance Center. Michael also volunteers his time with the Middle Tennessee Mental Health Strike Team, where he serves as law enforcement agencies in addition to fire, EMS, and community members across the state with critical incident debriefings and support following traumatic events. Mary Falls, no stranger, I think, to any of us here. Mary, welcome tonight. Mary serves in the office of Mayor John Cooper as senior advisor. She's an attorney who has deep experience in healthcare. She's chaired and served on numerous boards in Nashville and currently serves on Alive Hospice Advisory Council, the Alive Hospice Institute for Education, Advocacy and Innovation, St. Thomas Health, and the Downtown Partnership. Mary, again, thank you for joining us tonight. Dr. Gil Wright, also no stranger to many of us here this evening. Dr. Gil, thank you for being with us tonight. He's served as Metro Public Health Department's lead for the COVID response since February 2020 and has been serving as the interim chief medical director of health since December 2020. Dr. Wright oversees the contracted health care for the Davidson County jails, provides expertise to family planning clinics, and serves on the Mayor's Safety Advisory Committee and provides medical advice to multiple other areas within Metro government. Dr. Wright's background includes some rural health care in Nebraska, where he spent 8 years as one of 2 physicians in a town with a population of 1,700. And while there, about 20% of his practice was occupational medicine with responsibility for healthcare staff. Also worked as medical director on the insurance side for Mutual of Omaha and then for Cigna in Kansas City. Dr. Wright moved to Nashville in 2014 when he was the medical director of Metro Nashville, the Injury on Duty Clinic, for 3+ years prior to transferring to Metro Nashville Health Department as the associate medical director, clinical services and civil service medical examiner. In his role as the civil service medical examiner, Dr. Wright has responsibility for advice and recommendations to Metro Employee Benefit Board and the Civil Service Commission. Tracy Buck, Tracy, thank you for Buck. Sorry, Tracy. Thank you for being with us tonight. Tracy is currently a health strategist in the Office of Strategic Planning, Performance, and Evaluation at the Metro Public Health Department. She served the Nashville community as an employee of Metro government for 20 years. Tracy is dedicated to improving the health and wellness of the Nashville community through a policy, systems, and environmental change approach to community model that addresses systemic racism, inequitable access to resources, and other factors that drive individual and community inequities. She served as division director for the Community Development and Planning, co-coordinator for the Nashville Communities Putting Prevention to Work grant, which launched the Nashville Vitality citywide campaign brand for creating opportunities for being healthy, active, and green. She's provided outstanding leadership and oversight for the 2013 and 2018 Nashville Community Health Assessments and the 2015, 2019, and 2020-22 Community Health Improvement Plan processes. She's provided leadership and oversight for the Nashville community on the well-being survey as well. So, Tracy Buck, welcome. All right. You have our first order of business. We have minutes from December 3rd was our last meeting together. I will entertain a motion for approval of those minutes, and I would also like a second as well.
This is Katina. I'll make the motion to approve the minutes for the December meeting.
This is Jeff. I'll second it.
Okay,
Thank you. So there's a motion and a second for approval of the December the 3rd minutes. Any discussion on those minutes, changes? Okay, hearing none, those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, yes?
Yes.
Any opposition? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you. All right. Well, Heidi and Lieutenant Gooch, we'd like to pass things off.
Wesley, can you pass the ball to me, please, so I can pull this up?
That's right. We got a PowerPoint on this, and we want to pull up for that presentation. Okay. I want to give the two of you the floor. You know, the connection here we're looking for this evening is this council has been very, very privileged to be in a position, right, to provide feedback within the last several months regarding Community Policing Commission, our thoughts about the interface, how this council could serve in a role to interface with Metro government, with the Policing Commission on recommendations around those decisions, as well as critical incident CIT work within the police department. We thought it was a wonderful opportunity to hear more about what's happening from the Behavioral Health Services Division, and have asked Heidi and Lieutenant Gooch to provide a broader picture of what's happening in that area and to also share with us their ideas about interface opportunities for this council and the work that they're doing.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. All right. Well, hello. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. I have been in this role as the director for only a few weeks, but I can tell you that the individuals in professional wellness are among the most passionate, dedicated, committed professionals I've ever had the pleasure of working with. They work very hard to support public safety personnel and families, and you're about to hear of some of that work. As Dr. Vero mentioned, my work has involved working with victims of violent crime with the police department. And since the mid-1970s, the department has shown a commitment to offering counseling to crime victims. And as the work progressed, there was a natural evolution to offer that assistance to police officers as well to support their well-being. Now I am happy to turn this over to Lieutenant Michael Gooch. I'm happy to say Lieutenant, who's going to tell you more about our program. He, along with our professional wellness manager, David Keddington, and the rest of our team, have worked very hard to get a phenomenal program off the ground. It's become a top 10 model for officer wellness programs across the nation. And at this point, I will turn this over to Lieutenant Gooch.
Thank you, Heidi. And thank you for the opportunity to everyone that's here this evening. I feel blessed to be here. This is something that I'm very passionate about, and I hope that will be conveyed during my message this evening. You know, as Bob mentioned earlier, you know, I've spent 20 years with the police department. I've been exposed to a lot of things. I spent half my career as a detective in a variety of assignments. The one that was probably the most impactful was when I worked in domestic violence, just seeing that cycle of violence play out in front of me on a daily basis with the repeated victims and all the things that I was exposed to. It really started to kind of seep into my own health, and I wasn't doing anything about it. So back in 2017, you know, I really started to look at myself and realized that, I knew we had a counseling section, and I knew that I probably should reach out, but I couldn't really figure out why I hadn't done it before. At that point, I'm looking at 17 years into this career, dealing with the anxiety and the stressors and the day-to-day operations that police officers respond to. And we see a lot, and we see a lot. We see a lot, and we hear a lot, and the smells and the sounds. It takes a toll. So I started just doing a lot of soul searching and realized that, if I'm struggling to reach out for help, then there's got to be more. And so I did a lot of research, and I found that there was agencies across the country that had officers that were dedicated to dealing with officer wellness, and they were sworn, and they were able to help bridge that gap between the sworn personnel and the civilian counselors. And one of the things that I found to be the absolute most revealing is that we could connect better within our own profession than a counselor necessarily could. And that's not to take anything away from counselors. It's just people tend to gravitate to, people that look like them and sound like them and understand the jargon. And so as I was kind of reaching out and trying to figure out how I could get my anxiety and depression and the things that these events were causing under control, I realized that I should probably keep pushing this narrative because if I needed the help, then other people did as well. And so I started taking that research and, gently applying the pressure that I needed to the powers that be and stressed the importance of what I thought should happen. And as a sergeant, when you start going up the chain of command and you realize you may or may not get the buy-in that you're looking for, I had to provide a lot of data and research, and I did that. And so I worked with our counseling section to put a proposal together to see if we could help bridge that gap. And so born of that was the wellness unit in 2020. And we'll talk a little more about what we do as we transition through the slides. Angie, if you could go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So to understand kind of where we're at, I think it's important to understand where we came from. In '86, we had the PASS section, Police Advocacy Support section. And they've always been that reactive support that we need, post-critical incident, boots on the ground when things happen. But what about the day-to-day little traumas? I call them the little T's. What are we doing about the things that we build up and we package away? So we started exploring a lot of things in regards to the services that we provide and how we offer those services. So to understand PASS, it started with counselors and it always housed the chaplains. And, we had sworn officers that were out there helping in the form of peer support, but not dedicated. We didn't have dedicated personnel kind of tackling these struggles that we were finding ourselves in. And so over the years, PASS centered more around providing that clinical support. And then now we've grown to a much larger, robust support system, if you will. And Angie, if you'll go to the next one. What started basically as one person now kind of looks like this. Next slide, please. As Heidi mentioned earlier in her role, she's the director and she's really the rock that holds all this together with the clinical support. And then we have our manager, David Kennington, and he kind of oversees the counseling side of the house, and then the wellness and chaplain side I cover. And you can see that we have multiple counselors, master's level clinicians that are there to provide the support. We have a mentoring coordinator that works on the mentoring program, and we have some slots to be filled, but we're continuing to grow. One of the things that I oversee is the peer support unit. When I first took this over, we had about 20 active peer supporters, and I think that's important to kind of differentiate what that means. Active meaning that they were making themselves available. And now we've grown that to over 100 peer supporters, and we have our chaplains, and we've grown that volunteer chaplain program to over 30. They help with the 24-hour coverage of death notifications, so vital to helping the community that we serve during those tragic times when they're doing their death notifications and whatnot. Next slide, please. So in early 2020, right after Chief Drake took over on interim, he called me in his office and he asked me to kind of provide him a summary of what we were doing. And the thing that really set out in my head the most was just the fact that he said, you know, what do you need? What do you need to be able to provide the services to be able to take care of our men and women? And I told him that we need to make sure we have healthy officers on the streets because that's what the community deserves. They deserve the best version of us when we're out there serving them. And I told him that we needed to expand the staff, and we're currently doing so. And so in this commitment, we're looking at providing that clinical support, providing that chaplain support to our department employees and their immediate families, but also to the community. You know, we are accessible to the family members that the chaplains encounter on a pretty routine basis. But the core things that I really dig into with the wellness unit and what I oversee is that peer support, the mentoring, the education, and then the critical incident support. We're on the scene, during officer-involved shootings and during fatalities where maybe a child has been injured or things that are really going to trigger those emotions. We're there to help kind of normalize that and show them what those next 24 to 48 hours to 6 weeks look like. And so that's our commitment, is to be proactive and not reactive. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we've been around a long time in terms of counseling, but what we do now is really what's important, and that's just to continue to grow. I mean, I certainly don't have all the answers. I have a way, it may not be the way, but it's working and we're building upon it. But we really look at that therapy, that training, and that trauma that are the core to what we want to provide our officers and their families. You know, provide them the clinical support, provide them the education they need to understand what they're going through. The big thing that I didn't understand, when I was struggling was that, and it was normal. It was absolutely normal. But I didn't want to be perceived as weak because that's kind of how it was back in the day. And so what we're doing now is just promoting, making sure people realize that it's okay to not be okay, and that we'll help them get through it. And we have the tools and resources to do exactly what we're trying to do. And the big thing, as you can see at the bottom, change only comes from change. And we have to change the culture. I'm in control of making sure that we are starting with the time they're hired until the time they retire and beyond. We want to support them at every level. Next slide, please. So we're engaging early and often. We have a brand new mentoring program where we take seasoned officers that have been vetted. We've trained them to be mentors. We are investing in the next generation of police officers, so we should be mentoring them and preparing them for what they're going to see, helping them to develop their careers, helping them to navigate those struggles if they come up. And they will. That's the key here, is like, if we know it's going to happen, we can get ahead of it. We provide 20 hours of training on employee mental health, wellness initiatives, topics. We put them through scenarios, and 16 of those hours are in the first 2 weeks of their employment. Those recruits are paired up with a mentor to go through the 6 months of training, and then we just don't cut them loose and say, okay, figure it out. The whole program is to build relationships that they can carry on in their career. You have to have a purpose. You have to be intentional. We're intentional with our efforts. We know what can happen if we're successful, and that's what we want to be. We want to strive to be able to make a difference, because I only have 9 or 10 years. We all know when we can go, and I hope to be here longer, but I want to leave it better than I found it. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, we've expanded that peer support. Having 20 people in an agency of 1,200, it's just not acceptable. I mean, it's great that we had 20, but why not have 10% of our department? Why not have 100 people sprinkled all throughout, different shifts, different walks of life, different things they can bring to the table? We train them. We put them through some pretty intense training to help them understand, identify, and rectify situations that they may see when dealing with peers. They need to be able to to know when something's wrong, and then to have the courage to reach out and see if they, to navigate a courageous conversation, you have to break the ice, and you have to know them, and you have to engage them. And so that's what we do with our peer supporters. We put them in the field, and they're the eyes and ears. They refer to us. We can refer to counseling. And then we also do a lot of training. We go to roll calls. We do videos. Governor Lee has his executive orders that require at least 2 hours of officer wellness every year. So my goal is to mix that up and to routinely train, not just because it's required, but because it's needed. And so that's how we engage and train and support our people. Next slide, please. Some of the things I talked about and some of the things that I packed away was just those horrific incidents that we see. And I never got debriefed, and I saw tons of things, kind of coming up in my career. But studies show that PTS and PTSD symptoms will reduce at a greater, will find reductions at a greater rate when they have been debriefed and had the opportunity to kind of share what they saw and what their facts were and the thoughts and the response and how to re-enter into being okay in their own mind, and then hearing other people's perspective. So we bring them in and we normalize that as soon as feasible after a critical incident. No case more evident than the Christmas Day bombings. We continue to support those officers to this day. But like I said, it's those little traumas that add up over a period of time. It's almost like a balloon. It's just ready to pop. So we got to make sure that we're letting the air out before it explodes. And then we want to promote that wellness at every stage of their career from the top down. Chief Drake supports that. I obviously support that. I've met with commanders. One of the biggest jobs that I have is making it okay to reach out to us, making that normal from the tenured employees to the 2-day employees. Across the board, we all have to be on the same page. And so that's what we strive to do in the wellness unit. Our counselors are fantastic. We have an amazing staff. We work seamlessly, but unless we're out there promoting what we do, then we're just an office that's not providing support. So when we go out and we engage those officers, we're true to who we are. I'm a 20-year person that's always checked on someone. I may be the wellness unit lieutenant right now, but I was the officer that checked on people. And we have hundreds of those officers that are out here doing the great work that we're doing now. And we just continue to collaborate with partnerships.
Oh, we just lost his sound.
And that's basically the presentation. I'd like to open it up for any questions from any of the panelists or anyone for that matter.
Michael, this is Robin Nobling. I would just like to say hello and congratulations. We've been trying to get together for months, and it's nice to see you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. I do look forward to talking to you soon.
I hope we can do that, yes.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
How are the mentors, the officers that are mentors, how are they recruited and how are chosen? I would imagine there's a recruitment and then not necessarily everybody ends up serving, correct?
That's correct, ma'am. Basically what we do is we have an officer that's a full-time mentoring coordinator, and we take each applicant that comes across our desk and we really vet them. We look at their disciplinary history. We look at who they are as a person, because that's so much of what we want. We want the right people to guide the people that they're serving. And so we use questionnaires and we use personality assessments, and we try to pair up the right people as we place them into this journey. 6 months to a year long with someone. We have to try to do everything we can to get it right. And then we have checks and balances in place to where if for some reason it's not a good pair, that we can revisit that and place them. But yes, ma'am, we run a complete disciplinary history. We run references from supervisors and from peers, and we take everyone on a case-by-case basis. Thank you, ma'am.
Other questions? On a very personal note, really appreciate the update tonight. I know Heidi's aware of this, and I shared it with Lieutenant Gooch when we talked earlier. That reference to one person in PASS, my tie back to the PASS program goes back to that one person time. And to see, Heidi, the work that you've done, Lieutenant Gooch, the work that you've done to grow these services, especially the addition of peer support, the training, the presence in the academy early, the continued work at normalizing reactions to abnormal events, really creating a very, very healthy wellness model around dealing with trauma, working through those trauma, and making sure the resources are in place. I know speaks to all of us here, as a behavioral health and wellness council for the mayor. So just our collective thanks for your work. A lot of pride in seeing, again, all the work that's been done and the help that's been made available and the help that will continue to be made available to our men and women in uniform and their families. I know you didn't spend a lot of time on that, but services, different components, right, of the wellness program are there for family members of our men and women in uniform as well, which is so, so critical to those family members understanding the nature of the work and the impact that going to work every day has on our police officers.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, that means a lot because our families, when we leave, they don't know if we're going to return home. But more importantly, even when we do, we bring that home with us. And so a lot of the education that we do is with those families. We have a plan in place when a recruit class starts that we bring in their family and we tell them, hey, this is what the stress at the academy looks like. And then when they graduate, we bring that family back in and we give them the tools and the resources and we give them books and knowledge and education. And we tell them, you don't have to believe us now, but we're here for you when you need us. And I think I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
So too, for tonight, again, our gratitude. Just want to make sure this council and its membership is a resource, an ongoing resource for the two of you and your teams. Whatever we can do, to help you in your continued work, let us know. We see a real opportunity here for interfacing between the work that we're doing. We'll look to you as well as we hope to obviously engage in ongoing discussions around the community policing work, the ongoing discussions around CIT, but just, again, we're here. We want to make sure we're partnering with you. We want to make sure whatever resources we have as a council or two with the organizations that many of us represent, we want to make sure those resources are brought to bear for everyone's collective success as well.
Thank you.
So Heidi, great seeing you again. Lieutenant, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for inviting us. It was truly an honor. And Bob, it's good to see you again. You've been with us since the very beginning. So you've seen this, where it's been and how we've grown. And just thankful for your support. It's an honor to be here.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
And Bob, real quick, I'll let you know if you would like to send out our information, I'll provide it to you. I believe we didn't get to that slide, but I would like to make myself available to anyone on the council. And I'll get that information to you. Feel free to disseminate it. And Robin Nobling, I'll see you soon. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so next up on the agenda, we're really pleased that Mary Falls is here from the mayor's office. I think it's, the council's really been able to be a support to the mayor's office in terms of what we were able to provide with the COVID-19 behavioral health recommendations. We were able to be supportive to the city and ultimately the work that the mayor's office advanced around the Policing Policy Commission and the information that we provided to Judge Blackburn, where they were really looking for recommendations to support that work and move it forward. And really looking, some of those recommendations, as you will recall, was a co-responder model. How do we have a better interface with behavioral health and the police in order to get the best outcome for that individual who's in crisis? Mary contacted me a couple of weeks ago and said that the mayor had yet another request for us with BWAC, and you had some background information that was provided in your packets. So what I'd like to do now is turn the floor to Mary and ask her to tell us more about this request, and then have an opportunity for the council to be able to interact around that. Mary?
Thank you so much. And I wish Lieutenant Gooch were still on, because I wanted to thank him and Ms. Bennett. That was superb. And their colleague, David Kennington, reached out to me back in July with their report, and it was just so powerful. And I connected them with you two. So I'm glad that I happened to be here for this meeting when they were presenting, because that was really moving and critical. And I was actually trying to type a question in the chat box, but I couldn't get it to go through. And if Heidi's still on the line, I'd love to understand, and you probably all would as well, what the fire department is doing and the EMTs there on this score, and if there's collaboration between the two units. I think that would be really helpful to understand. I know our 911 has a pretty robust wellness component to it, but it would be interesting to know how they're all talking to each other. So thank you again for having me. And I want to just highlight that we talk about this at the office, and John, the mayor's very interested in this topic. It is important, and he realizes we can't be a healthy city unless we're really addressing this topic robustly, and it's fully integrated into what we do and who we are. And as you both noted, Angie and Bob, there are a whole lot of public safety task force and commissions right now, and there are some that have existed for a long time. We have the Criminal Justice Policy Steering Committee, the Advisory Committee, and several of the members of your board are also on that. The Safety Advisory Committee, and we need to make behavioral health a critical component of all of those. And I think we're trying to make an effort to do that. And if there are gaps, you need to let us know, because that's really important. And then, so what the mayor said to me a couple of weeks ago when I reached out is there's obviously a lot of work going on around community-led public safety strategies. And he said, can you get with that A-team, BWAC, and really ask their thoughts? So there isn't a presentation, it's just an ask. We would like to hear your thoughts about where you think the gaps are, what this group can bring to bear, what resources we need to know about, like how do we create this in a really integrated way? And I just want to listen and take notes.
Thank you, Mary. I think the part of what we'd like to do tonight is really just have the group understand, what the mayor's looking for. And then also we recognize that given the scope of this work, that we probably need to go ahead and convene an ad hoc committee to really do the work, similar to when the mayor came to ask for our advice in June. This is, it's deep work, it's important work, and it's complex work, and it requires that work in the community as well as within the behavioral health, within the BWAC group. I think the other thing it really leads us to is considering behavioral health equity overall. And so I think that's another piece that we would like to, have the group consider. So in that regard, I'd just like to hear if the group has questions for Mary at this point, or what their thoughts are on developing an ad hoc group to work on this and be able to bring some really in-depth, valuable information back to the mayor's office. So if anybody would like to ask Mary a question, if you'll just unmute and do that.
So this is Katina from Matthew Walker Health Center. I don't have a question per se, but I do have a comment in terms of drawing the line between this request and this new information to behavioral health, in that we see a lot of our patients and they have post-traumatic stress disorder because of the rate of violence in their community, in our communities. And so I think that this does dovetail nicely to the work that we've already started in terms of identifying how resources can be allocated, or how we move forward in this work. And so initially I was just kind of like trying to pull it all together, but once I took a deeper dive and took a look and sat back, it clearly does align with the behavioral health of our community in terms of violence reduction.
Katina, any early observations from your work, or is it too premature? I mean, I know you've been at this a while. Any early sharings?
No, I don't have any early sharings. What I do have is and I don't believe in coincidences, but it was funny when I did do a little bit of reading on the cure violence, and that it actually started in Garfield Park in Chicago, which is where I went to school 20 plus years ago. And so I just thought, well, this is like a full circle kind of wackadoodle crazy for me. But I do think that there are elements. This is not easy work to pick up and start to engage in. Gideon's Army has been doing this work now for some time, and I definitely think that there are lessons to be learned and conversations to be held there. But in terms of us clinically, the depression, the anxiety, particularly after an event has occurred in our community, has been clear to us. And, but I can say that we don't necessarily have the resources or the knowledge of how to directly respond once we've had these incidents happen. I mean, we've had individuals killed very near our health center. We've had patients killed due to violence, and how we as an organization respond to those issues, we very transparently, we're at a loss. So I think that's, what I would give in terms of our experience.
This is Jeff, and I would agree with Katina that this is really complex. And I wonder, we have over the last few months talked about trying to get some sense in the community of how the pandemic has affected really agencies and the ability to provide basic services. And I wonder if these kind of longer term, really sort of even preventive approaches have kind of been put aside as, agencies have just scrambled to kind of, meet the new demands and shifted resources and this and that. I don't know if our, talking with agencies has revealed anything, but I just wonder if that's put additional stress.
Shotzi, could you mute, please? Thank you. Other thoughts or comments?
This is Robin. I think we are looking at, as each have said, it's very complex. I think we need to look at violence in different ways, including suicide as violence inward, and what happens sometimes when people are violent as a result of that. I think having CIT and doing a behavioral component within that is a good way to help address violence. There's a lot of different facets to this. I see what Sheila Calloway is doing over at juvenile court. I just think that there are, this is multifaceted, and it is going to take a deeper dive.
I am curious, though, if Mary can talk a bit more about the mayor's perspective, the mayor's office perspective, and kind of initially what, just what the gut check was and why the interest was there.
Well, I think it's because he understands that the as you all have said, that the violence is multidimensional, right? And so it's both the people who experience violence directly and the people around them. So how do we, in the violence interruption, and I understand there are lots of different types of methods to try to interrupt violence, street outreach, environmental design, therapy, and all these different things that people are trying. So his question is just a question. We need to understand what don't we know? What does he need to know from you all on how to be thinking about this? And he's got white papers on this, and he can read a lot about it. But you all are at the front lines. And what does Nashville need? So we can read about best practices elsewhere, but you all represent best practices here. So just really trying to understand how we can use the force of government to try to move the dial, and with the understanding that we don't have basic health care in Davidson County still. So it's a super heavy lift here that other cities don't necessarily have to deal with.
Can I just now got on the meeting, so I'm sorry I missed it. This is Dan, but I have some really strong feelings about guns, and I mean, and I haven't been on the bench regularly for 5-6 years now, but back then there were tons of guns. Everybody had a gun. All these young people had guns. And there's just, and I'll tell you what I did a lot of times. I would, if somebody went on probation, I'd make them write an essay, believe it or not, on guns. What's the point of having a gun? I mean, what's a gun for? And, half the people say, well, self-defense. I got to defend myself. And I said, well, what happens when you shoot a gun? I don't know. Are you going to hurt somebody? Yeah. Could you kill somebody? I don't. It was like the Wild West to me. I couldn't believe it. And violence has escalated to death now in many, many cases, where when I was growing up 70 years ago, the violence was you pop somebody in the face or you might have a knife. Never had a gun. Now, a lot of arguments are resolved with gunfire. And we just got to get control of that. The only time that I saw a decrease was when Ed Yarborough was the U.S. attorney, and he instituted a policy that the federal government was going to take cases, gun cases, where, if you're a felon and you're caught with a gun, that's a federal crime. And word got out on the street, and I actually saw a decrease in weapons for that short period of time. That went away after Ed left. But my concern is, and it also gets into suicide, but all these guns around. You don't have a chance to stop it. If somebody's got a gun and puts it to their head, they're done. At least if they try another method, you've got a shot, no pun intended, in resolving. So what's the mayor think about the gun situation? And is there any talk about how to resolve that? I talked to previous mayors about it.
So we live in a state that's pretty challenging. State doesn't like a lot of what Nashville does. I think we can guess where any effort at a municipal solution there would be pretty short-lived, would be my speculation.
Well, has anybody talked to the federal government with the U.S. attorneys about, they have I mean, that was a big deal for a year or two. And it actually had some effect because word gets out on the street that if you're a felon and you're caught with a gun, that you could go, the feds will pick you up. And that's automatic 5 years. And it actually, believe it or not, had some effect on some of these situations. And I understand Tennessee, and everything, but there are some remedies. They're punitive, but when you get into guns, sometimes it takes to get, and that's the most severe form of violence in my opinion. And then you get in these domestic cases with a gun. I mean, it's tough. I'll shut up.
So, Judge, I think you're underscoring complex, systemic, multidimensional. I think all the more reason. And you're touching on one element that touches so many aspects, right? I mean, it touches street violence, domestic violence, death by suicide. I mean, again, just the complexity there. So, Mary, I think, again, we first, please thank the mayor for reaching out to us. This is the relationship we want. We want the mayor to see us as first call for feedback on these issues. And as Angie said, I think we put this in the context of similar invitations that we've had, bringing our group together, allow our group really to take a deep dive into this, make sure that what we give you is thoughtful, is meaningful, is actionable, and informed by the data. And those are really, those are the guardrails we like when asked this. And those are the guardrails that we'll put, we'll ask our ad hoc committee to take on. Is just make sure it's right, actionable, meaningful, really thoughtful, understands the complexity of the problem, and is data informed.
That'd be perfect. That's what he needs. And that's why he likes coming back to you all.
Very good. Well, given that context, can we get a motion then to establish a ad hoc committee on violence interruption / prevention to really look at this as a broader issue?
I move that we do that using your language, Angie, if you don't mind.
Okay, certainly. A second, please.
Second.
Pamela, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Very good. And so now that we've established an ad hoc committee, is there anyone who'd like to step up in terms of being willing to lead that work?
I'll do it. I'll take that on.
Excellent, Katina. Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
Sheila, are you grinning because you want to get going in? What are you doing?
I was glad you said you take the lead. I was going to say I would work with someone. I'm not sure.
Come on.
She's on the ad hoc committee.
There we go.
I think I'm already working with the mayor on some stuff, on that kind of stuff anyway. So it'd make sense for me to work on it.
And I'd like to volunteer as well.
Excellent.
So we're going to follow up tonight, reach out, make sure we get everyone interested who wants to be on that ad hoc committee to join that ad hoc committee. Mary, it's always helpful. Can we get a sense of time? Yeah, so mayor needs to hear back from us. Give us a time frame.
What's reasonable? I mean, I know he'd probably like to get everything next week. 60 days? Is that
60
fair?
days?
Could you do it 60 days?
I think that's reasonable.
Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank
And
you.
thank you again to the mayor.
Yeah.
Very grateful.
Thank you. All right.
All right, very good. Okay, so next we have the pleasure of having Dr. Wright with us tonight, Dr. Gil Wright, and you all heard his introduction a little earlier. Dr. Wright has a very, very full plate, but has very, is going to talk to us really tonight about a vaccine update, and particularly to consider mental health and behavioral health, addiction providers and clients in terms of this context of the COVID-19. So at this point, I will turn it to Dr. Wright.
Okay. Well, as the first thing I want to talk about is just a little bit about phases versus the age range. You'll hear both things in the press and from the state. There's phases, and they run actually concurrent to the age range. So right now for age here in Davidson County, we're at 75 plus. So anyone over 75 or at 75 or above, we're giving vaccine to. But we're also in phase 1A2. That's outpatient providers that have contact with individuals that may have COVID. And that would include residential staff and outpatient mental health providers. So if you haven't signed up and need to, please feel free to email me and I'll get you on into the list. And if you have, we should be reaching out to you here in the near future if we haven't already to get you scheduled, because we are currently scheduling in that age or in that phase. We're about 30% done currently with the 1A2 group. So just for a reference, with the 75 and older, we're about 42% have already gotten their first dose. Population overall in Davidson County, just under 8% has gotten at least one dose, and about 3.5 or a little more than that has gotten 2 doses. Currently, we're working through our waiting list for the 75-year-olds and also the 1A2s. Once we get through that, we'll be moving into 70-year-olds, and we'll also be moving then into, from the phase standpoint, we'll move into 1B. That is schools, K through 12 schools and daycares, and that's both parochial, private, and public schools. So we'll work through all of that. Thought I should talk a little bit about variants. That seems to be the hot topic right now. We're notified earlier this week that we have had 2 of the variants that are talked about on the news. In this case, both of our variants, individuals were the British variant. That is very sensitive still to the vaccine. The South African variant is the vaccine helps prevent it, but it is a little less effective at that at this point. Let's see. To date, we've given about 105,000 vaccines here in Davidson County. We've had very minor and expected symptoms associated with those vaccines. Those occurred most commonly after the second dose. Typically, you're going to see headache, muscle aches, chills, maybe a low-grade fever, kind of like you got the flu. And generally, they last less than 2 days. I've had a number of people say, 36 hours, I didn't feel good. Got to 36 hours, I felt fine again. Tylenol, ibuprofen can be used if those symptoms occur. I think that all of that leads me to believe that we've got a very safe vaccine that we're using here. So we are mostly using the Pfizer vaccine here because we've got the ability to store it. Moderna is being used throughout a lot of the rest of the state and by our FQHCs when they do receive vaccine because it's a little easier for them to store. We did last week give vaccine for the first time to our FQHCs so that they could start to do their vulnerable populations. And we're going to continue to work with them. We have all of our activities right now are mostly at Music City Center, both first and second doses. We are able to see probably up to about 1,000 first doses and 1,000 second doses every day. We're just waiting on enough vaccine to be able to do that. But right now we're doing about 750, 800 a day there between first and second doses. And then we've got plans to be able to go out into the community. I actually was out with one of our mobile teams yesterday doing a retired teachers home in north of Nashville. That it is so satisfying. I was at the same teachers home very early doing testing because they had concerns in the building. I've been back several times since, a couple times to bring some masks, et cetera. It was actually very satisfying to have started and seen them when we did testing, and then to get to give them their first dose of vaccine. And that's what we're seeing with the 75 plus. We had one lady the first week walked out of getting her shot and just kind of stood and looked, and we weren't sure what she was doing. Talking with her, she was just happy to be out and actually see people. So this really starts, we've talked about it, but until you see that, you don't realize how much mental stress and other things have gone on in this population. Has been so isolated at home. And it's very satisfying to start to see the end of the tunnel with the light. So that's been great. So that's what I wanted to say. Finally, I just want to thank all of my Metro Public Health colleagues that have been working on COVID since a year ago now. It has been great. They've done a great job. They've worked multiple extra hours every week, and for all of that, we're very appreciative. So if anybody has questions, be glad to answer.
Doctor, I have a question. I'm 72 and almost 73, but I went on when most of the state opened to 70 and above, a lot of counties. I went on to 8 counties surrounding Nashville. I immediately was able to go to Perry County and get a shot. I've been notified by the other 7 counties that they have availability. Why is Davidson County, well, it seems to me y'all aren't getting your fair share. Well, is it political or what's the deal going on?
No, we're getting our percent. However, there are 2 factors that go into this. Think about what our population looked like versus a rural county. I lived and practiced. I grew up in a rural county. I've practiced in a rural county in the past. I had a very small 1A1, 1A2, meaning hospital group, hospital care, and community-based care. Our population here in Nashville, we have a huge healthcare infrastructure that we've had to go through. So we have a higher percentage of that. So that just means that we've had a slower time getting through that than other counties. The other thing is in a lot of the rural counties, they're not getting a very high uptake. So if you're only giving 40% versus somebody else giving 60%, you can move through the population much quicker. So it's how much vaccine, once you get it, that you're using for that population. We're lucky in that we've been getting a very good response uptake, which means that as we get through groups, those groups are gonna help us have better herd immunity than some of the communities that are getting low uptakes. So that will be protective for us in the long run.
Well, why?
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was in Perry County, I knew, believe it or not, 4 other couples that showed up at virtually the same time I did from Davidson County. Then there were people from Williamson, the counties that hadn't gotten to the 70, not a Perry County car. So I agree with you. And apparently it's the same in Hickman Cheatham, I mean, all these counties, because they're actually calling me, not just sending me emails, but calling me, say, please, you can come get a shot. So if they're hustling to get people, why can't you, if their counties don't need that much because of the amount they're giving out, it just seems to me it'd be fair to pull it back into Davidson County, Shelby County, where you have more people that want to take it, and you have a population that needs it, really needs it, particularly in some of the Black area, communities and Hispanic, where you don't have that much maybe in some of those other counties. Have you talked to the state about that at all?
Yeah, I talk with the state regularly. Alex Jahangir, who's our board chair, talks with Commissioner Piercy regularly. I'm glad that other counties are vaccinating my 70 plus, because it just means as I move forward, there's less of those for me to have to do, and I can focus more on those that have a more of a problem with transportation, or such as our minorities, so that we can focus a little bit more on those where we need to. So the state's trying to move in kind of lockstep, but they realize that's not going to completely happen. We're getting our vaccine based on percent of our population at the same rate as everybody else, but it's just being used differently.
So Dr. Wright, this is Katina from Matthew Walker Health Center. Thank you so much for you and your team and all that you've done to make sure that we have our vaccine and helping us get our staff vaccinated. I appreciate it. And I definitely have to let you know that I've worked closely with Laura, and she has been a great joy and a very big help to us. A couple of things. One is that we are ready to help mobilize the vaccine whenever we're able to get supply that can be used in the community. Right now, we're using it, of course, for our patient population. But the other thing is that this week I've probably received a couple of phone calls from a couple of principals trying to get their teachers vaccinated so that they don't have to drive to the other counties. And so I mentioned to one of them, just in no real kind of sarcastic way, but I was like, it would have been great if this could have been coordinated better to get the vaccinations before Metro went back into schools. And so is there any conversation or thought around that?
We are working on it. We've been working that very hard. We had said the 1st of March. I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to start that much sooner, but I'm not quite ready to make any announcement on when that's going to start, because we just have a couple small things to put in place and be sure that they're in place to be able to move that plan forward. But I think it will be happening very near future.
Just one other last question. Thank you for that. One other last question is that, we are really trying to plan to make sure that we can be responsive week by week. And so do you think that the supply that's coming to us here in Nashville will be pretty regular? Do you think right now we're at 100 doses a week? Do you think that's going to be pretty regular, so that way we will know how to plan out, especially as the next 4 weeks roll around for the second shot?
Right. I think it's going to stay fairly regular. We've seen a little bit of an increase each week for the last several, and I'm hopeful that it will continue that trend where we can get more out to individuals. Individuals here, as well as people like Matthew Walker and other partners.
Dr. Wright, Bob here. Again, just want to add to the appreciation work that you've been doing individually and with your team. But I think we make reference to what percent uptake we've had in the risk-based groups as well as the age-based groups. We're also acknowledging, right, that uptake's not been the same in many of our minority populations, where we know we have healthcare equity issues. And I know too, there's lots of dialogue going on. Can you share some thoughts on efforts that are going to be underway to make sure that uptake, there's that imbalance right now of the uptake. We may be at 40%, but we may be at 20% in our minority populations in that age group.
Right.
Not at 40%.
The only group that we can really look at is the 75 plus, because it's the only really open group. The other groups are closed, and we know what they're made up of. It's, if you look at healthcare, it's going to be, because it's mostly nurses. When you take total count, it's going to be young white female, predominantly. But when we started to look at our 75 plus, we are I think it's about 45% of the white population has gotten a vaccine. It's about 23%, I believe. I'm saying these off the top of my head. It's 22 or 23% of the Hispanic population that's in that age group. Blacks were about 19% of their population that fit that. So yeah, there's a disparity there, and we need to, and part of that is predisposed concern about vaccines for different reasons, depending on the community. So we have built a plan that we'll be sending out, making public over the next several days, probably the first of the week. It's going to include some education dollars for social media and some other things to try and help with that. We're trying to use and work with members of council, community members, in particular church leadership. We've got the Vanderbilt Meharry Alliance involved in giving input. So lots of different places in the people in the community. And we realize that, our goal is to try and really work on those areas. So I foresee down the road that our Music City Center, we've kind of have an arrangement to have that building through probably May. But at that point, I'm hoping that it's widely available because there's already going to be some starting to be sent out to Walmart shortly, but then Walgreens, CVS, all the local pharmacies will have it. But then we can public health can take our resources and really focus on going out into the communities of color to really get to those people that have those concerns, hopefully go in with leaders from the community and go into those areas where we need to really try and help with that disparity.
It is a real catch-22 right now while we have limited supply, and it's really hard to start sending out a broader message when then we create, such an awareness, such a desire. We're creating an appetite right now for a meal we can't deliver. And I know it's a very, very delicate balance. We want the education out there, but the more we create this appetite, and hunger for the vaccine and unable to deliver, we're increasing angst, we're increasing depression, and it's obviously not the direction we want it to go. So I think we're all aware there's just a tightrope we're walking right now between making sure the accurate education's out there, that people eligible at the risk base and age base are getting access. Thank goodness the access is open in multiple counties, but it's an individual county issue.
Right. And I, of course, I have two bottom line concerns. One is I never want to get in the situation where I don't have the second dose for somebody that needs it. At the same time, I don't want to be sitting on vaccine either. And the third thing is I don't want to go out, especially into our communities of color, and go in with the idea that we're going to give them vaccine and then have to have to turn anybody away that's at an event, because I think that's almost worse than it's not, but I'm just concerned that it gives people a bad taste, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able, when we go into those and do events, I want to make sure we've got enough vaccine for anybody that we're expecting, plus a little more, because even yesterday when we were out doing this home for mostly, like I say, retired teachers in North Nashville, we actually had a few extra and were able to get some of the community in also at the same time. So those are the types of things where we want to make it always a success so that they trust us, because we aren't necessarily always trusted. I don't want to damage that what little trust we have in any way.
Thank you, Dr. Wright. Is there anybody else that would like to get some feedback from Dr. Wright? Well, hearing none, again, thank you so much. I think this is really helpful for the group to hear, and we'll get the information on Dr. Wright's contact information out to everyone, so that if you do have a group that you need to, that falls in one of those categories, particularly those with that are the providers around the behavioral health community, that can be taken care of. So thank you again, Dr. Wright.
Sure, thank you. And I'm going to jump off.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Okay, well, we'll move right along here. We've had a really full agenda tonight. The next person I'd like to introduce is Tracy Buck. Tracy came to us back in June of 2019 to present some requests to the council on behalf of the Healthy Nashville Leadership Council. And that, if you'll recall, there were 5 strategic areas that were identified through the community health assessment process. One of those was mental health. And Tracy came to the BWAC to present a request to include the work of BWAC in the new CHIP, which went into effect January of 2020. So BWAC approved that request. Tracy and has been in touch with the Access to Affordable Healthcare Work Group of the Healthy Nashville Leadership Council, and they have an additional request. So I will turn it tonight to Tracy at this point so that she can do that. And Tracy, I'll put up the document for you, okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for allowing me to come and speak with you tonight, and I promise I will be brief. You have in front of you a document that shows the original language that was included in the Community Health Improvement Plan that outlines work for the Behavioral Health and Wellness Advisory Council under the Access to Affordable Health Care. That work group, as you can imagine, that work group did not meet in much of 2020. So we have just recently had the opportunity to bring our work groups together and actually start the implementation work. As they were reviewing this section of the improvement plan, they noted that there were some pieces missing. So they have actually gone through and added some new objectives, but they wanted to look at the language that was around the behavioral health and wellness work that had been outlined. So what they wanted to do was to actually change the objective language. Angie, I've got the wrong document there.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So as you can see, they actually wrote a new objective, which was to increase community access to behavioral health services, and then moved what was the objective and the 2 objectives, 2.3 and 2.4, added those as strategies. So There has not been any additional work that is being outlined for the Behavioral Health and Wellness Advisory Council. Instead, it is just a way of setting a more clear objective and then having these strategies under that objective to do this work. I will tell you that the Healthy Nashville Leadership Council has not had the opportunity to act on this change to the CHIP document. Our last meeting was Tuesday of this week, and the agenda ran long, and so they were not able to take this up. So what I am asking of you is your approval for this change, and then it will go to the Healthy Nashville Leadership Council for their approval.
I'm having to be IT, and that's not my forte, but I'm trying my best here. So any questions for Tracy? You should have had that document also sent to you, so it should be in your packet to look at. I mean, one thing I noted about it was that the actual dates needed to be updated in it. So they have been updated in the new version of this. So does anyone have any questions or concerns for Tracy to respond to?
This is Robin. Hi, Tracy. It's Robin Nobling.
Hey, Robin.
I guess my concern in increasing community access to behavioral health services, which, great idea, I love it, but I'm also concerned about workforce. And if we increase, creating community awareness around, doing all this, are we going to have the workforce to be able to meet it? I know in the Region 4 Planning Council, this is something that was brought up, is we'd love to just have a survey of what's out there and where we stand on workforce. So has any talk or consideration been given to workforce as you're looking at this?
Robin, no, there was no discussion on workforce, as is pretty customary when you do an assessment. You will generally find that there is an insufficient amount of workforce for increase in capacity, but that would be part of the strategy 2.3.3, which was build a plan based on the gaps identified in the assessment. So I am assuming that if there is that assessment would also look at the workforce capacity to deliver additional services. So that is the way that I would say that would be addressed in the future.
Okay. So as long as we've got it somewhere in there, because we're going to have to. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Robin, excellent question. I think we would look right to have that addressed. I mean, we know where the workforce shortages are in behavioral health. We know what difficulties there are today in hiring and retention as part of that, the workforce issue. So knowing that it will be addressed in 2.3.3 is helpful. Thank you.
Other questions or concerns or comments for Tracy? Well, hearing none, can we have a motion then to accept the recommended changes?
So moved.
Thank you, Dan. A second, please.
This is Robin. I'll second.
Thank you, Robin. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, very. Okay, we're nearing the end here, folks. It's been a really great meeting. I think it's been really a lot of the content in the meeting, and just so glad that it has all worked out that we can manage it within our time frame. So you want to?
Yeah, Judge Eisenstein is a member of our Nominations Committee has a report from the Nominations Committee that convened January 26th.
Right.
Ready to make a report. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm sad to say, and I'm sure we all are, that Bob's term in the private sector, we're two-phase kind of leadership. We have co-chairs, one from the private sector and one from the public sector. And Bob has served his term, and so we need to have someone step into his big shoes to fill. And the nominating committee has nominated Katina Beard to move into that position. Her term would be June 2021 through May 2023. And under our bylaws, Angie Thompson can remain as the public sector co-chair for another term. So we'd like to nominate her for the term of June 2021 through May 2022. So that's the report from the nomination committee and the recommendation.
This also allows us to create what we knew eventually we'd want in terms of staggered terms between our public and private co-chairs, and this gives us that opportunity. Council may remember a year ago, my one-year term was up, and the council decided to go ahead and nominate me for an additional one-year term, and we did that. So this gets us back on track to make sure we have those staggered terms. Yeah. The nominations committee did reach out to both Katina and to Angie to see if there was willingness to serve in those roles for that continued tenure. And Dan, the answer to those was affirmative from both Angie and from Katina. So this comes as a recommendation. It's really coming as a recommendation. So it's moved forward by our nominations committee as a committee motion. It does not require a second. Any discussion? Then I would call for the question on here. Those in favor of supporting the nominations committee's recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Next meeting of our group is April the 1st. It will very likely be a virtual meeting as we continue to be probably somewhere in the middle of this pandemic. When we find a clear way to get back to in-person meetings, we will do that. That'll be, I guess, technically my last meeting as your public sector co-chair. So I want to thank you tonight, and I'll thank you again as well when I see you in April. But it's been a real privilege to be co-chair of this council, to sit alongside Angie and her team as well in this process. So if there's no further business, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you, Dan. Second?
So moved.
Thank you, Dan. All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Again, give some thought to serving on the ad hoc committee. Most probably easiest done if you'll send an email indicating your desire to serve in that committee to Angie. We'll move forward quickly and convene that ad hoc committee. And again, Katina, thank you for volunteering to do that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening.
Yeah.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.